Okay, this is the monument erected in 1836, commemorating Missouri War.
This is the spot where the shot was fired that was called a shot heard round the world. That's Vicksburg, 1868.
Get out of there.
It's really something, huh? There's Freddie in the car. See him waving? This is an old bottling company right across the street from that manor house. Most of the stuff here is in pitiful shape. In front of that manor house. Levee, whatever that is. Fred, what is a levee?
That holds the Mississippi back when it floods so the town don't flood. These are the big locks. These gates, they drop down to hold the river water on one side. See them? Okay, we're through it.
The bridge over to Mississippi. We're on our way to Memphis.
This is Missouri now. There's her stand.
Okay. In Arkansas. The one was. There we go. Plants look like pretty up close, although I am a few thousand feet away.
Dressed up in their...
Now we're in Mississippi. This is the Welcome Center. There's the old man. Look at that. How's this for a Welcome Center? Isn't this pretty? How's that for hospitality? Isn't that pretty? Oh, Grandpa's sitting there right.
Driving through Mississippi.
Christmas in September.
Yeah.
Because we're passing a lot of Christmas trees.
We are still in Mississippi. We're taking some nice pictures of the forest area.
Oh, is it pretty here? What was the name of that forest? Holly something?
Valley Spring.
Ooh, Holly Spring. Isn't this pretty? Merry Christmas. coming back from the next rest area that we got to. We know what you just did. Okay, now we're at Vicksburg. We're going to the visitor center. That one's
15th Infantry.
Union ironclad Cairo, or Cairo. They say it was sunk by the first electrically controlled mine. Pulled it out of Yazoo River. Sank in less than 60 seconds. Camera on the side, right there, was made of railroad tracks. They heated and bent it around. Of the ship, the ribs, and all that were not by professional shipbuilders. They were by barn builders and regular carpenters. That's all they had building these things. This is the other side of the ship opened up. Down there, what they pulled out of the bottom of the river, that's all that was really left. The rest is reconstruction. And there's the ship's cook over there. Oh, no, that's Joanne. The boat had two rudders to steer by. Cannon on the back, cannon everywhere. Had an enclosed paddle wheel housed in the armor plating down into the water. They say they had a tendency to blow up. By the steam that turned the paddle wheel, giving the power.
That's where we stayed overnight in Vicksburg. At the far end there is the Days Inn where we stayed. Next to it is a gambling casino where we lost almost $50. And this is a place for kids to go to. Look at that, isn't that cute? It's got a Pee-wee golf and rides and all kinds of stuff like that. It's kind of pretty. They had a hot tub that didn't have hot water. It was miserable. Now, and that is the place where Coca-Cola was invented. How about this? Quaint, isn't it? Carved figures in a little shop here of models, but we may not see it because it only opens at 9. We're back in the Vicksburg area where the battles took place. The actual places where they were fighting. There's a whole line of cannon here. Let's go see what they were aimed at. And all the Confederates hiding behind those hills. Two markers show where the Union soldiers were. Trenches where the Union Army was entrenched, and this happens to be where Illinois was. And in the background there's the monument to Illinois. People that fell here.
There's General Logan.
General Logan. Jeez.
Wow.
By the way, that Logan was who Logan Square is named after, because he was from that area.
That was the Logan.
That was the Logan Farm. And it used to have a big gold eagle on the top, but that's in the Welcome Center. They just re-gilded it, and it'll take 2 years to dry correctly to put it back up on top. There's a door to go inside, but I don't think I want to walk up all those stairs. This major battle took place here. A monument stands for every battalion that was fighting there.
This is the only structure on the property that was here during the battle. It was headquarters for the Illinois Division.
This stuff is called kudzu. See, it's covering up all the trees. It's some kind of vine that came from Japan. It's taken over the south. It's called kudzu. It almost looks like a monster, doesn't it?
That's the Michigan.
That's the monument from Michigan. That's the one from Wisconsin. Notice up at the top, there's like a eagle. I'm getting a close-up on that, baby. What did you say about that, Daddy?
That they really had an eagle as a mascot.
Some guy used to carry it on his arm. Style. It's from Ohio. Road, isn't it? Makes you realize what happened here. Big battles. I think they said 17,000 men are buried in the cemetery here. 13,000 of them, nobody even knows what their names are. More of the battle trenches. Now, mind you, these are 100 years old, so they're filled in now. But they were 6 feet deep when men were in there fighting from them. And what's the Grant headquarters area?
There he is on his horse.
The Army of Tennessee. There he is on his horse.
New Hampshire.
Listing.
Union and Confederate.
Yeah.
This is an unusual monument too. It's like a bullet. That's Ohio, also from Ohio. It's rather unusual. Sign that showed where the Confederate armies were. They were red signs. Is numbered around 30,000, but Pemberton's forces for the Confederacy were dug in. Forces were dug in, so that meant that they had a 10-to-1 advantage. The Mississippi River, and that's why they wanted to take Vicksburg, so that they'd get this waterway back. Friend protected Vicksburg, but it was against the orders. If he had gone and attacked Grant, maybe Grant never would have made it through and take on over the city. There's the eagle that's going to go on top of the Illinois monument. The reason that there were so few civilians that died in Vicksburg was because they lived in caves like these. Tecumseh Sherman's uniform. Those are the kind of trenches that the men were in. Like kudzu. Look at that. Isn't that something? Don't they look like monsters standing there? Oh, wow. They're awful. They choke everything. Trace. This is the view on the trace. No signs, nothing, just beautiful. And this is the road we're taking to Natchez. But next to the nature area. This is Auburn. Oh, shut up. This is a mansion called Auburn. It was built in 1812. This is a beautiful staircase here. That's its best feature. It's pouring outside at the moment. We're going to get a tour from one of the daughters of the American Revolution. Grandpa had a baby. Visit the men's room. This is the entry.
That's what I'm getting.
It's like a forest. It's got all animals in it. The drapes flow on the floor to show how wealthy they are.
Between the doors was a purchase that our city was made not too long ago, and it was purchased from someone in Vicksburg. Of course, the city put it here because the city owns this house. And then the mirror over the mat was in the Dunkin' bag. That's a piece of money she could do to get back. And then it's put black marble. Most of it is a lot of marble. Most of it even get
I wanted to ask them, when we closed, put made coal in here, they closed up and
Make it right now. And at the beginning, they were wood. And I'd like to stop and think. They had great big vats in that, and they keep it filled full of cold water, and after the cows were milked, the milk would be brought here in containers and they'd sit.
The cooking. The cook lived on the second floor, and they brought the food over to the main house, and it covered. This is the second floor now. There's the top of that staircase.
And this bed, you and I couldn't rearrange this piece of furniture. It would take at least 5 or 6 people to rearrange that. And of course, they had no indoor bathroom facilities like we have today. And they used what we call chili pots. Some of them were real fancy though. And it was like, and then they would go back from room to room, turn the cover back, and get the bed all nice and warm for the family to sleep in at night.
There'd be coals in
And
that bed warmer.
then,
This is the Henry Clay room.
and this bed is a little bit different in size too. And all of these beds that you can see up here were made according to specifications. This was made for husband had his
Shell design.
unloaded and carried to the house where it was supposed to go, and there it was assembled. Now their trademark was the A. You see the little round thing in the center of the headboard, and then also up at the tester, and then over here on this little dressing table, it's up here and it's also down here. This is lovely, lovely work. And this came up such as this. And it would hang the mosquito net in the ground and drape it over this to keep it, and then that kept it off.
The child's room. I like the colors on the wallpapers, huh? Fireplaces every place. The way that house looks on the outside. 60. It's an octagon shape. Go for it, go. It's nothing like it anyplace else in the world.
Okay, I'm doing narration.
It's a fancy dome. It was just reconstructed in 1993. Along with where the people had to live. In the French Quarter in New Orleans. That's a very meager carriage. Other ones are better. Go ahead, Freddie. Walk over by Dad. Fred is with us. He just joined us from Houston. Here he be. Fancy. Jackson Square.
Let's go up to the river and you get a better shot.
This is what there's Dad and Fred ahead of me. They're going too fast. say that that was St. James Cathedral. This is looking the other way.
It's hot. He likes it. He's Baptist. He likes it.
With pretty flowers. There's somebody performing there, but we can't tell what he's doing. It's another one of those beautiful buildings. This is St. James Cathedral. I don't understand the ceiling so well.
And this is King Louis IX, famous St.
Joan.
St. Louis, Missouri's named after him. St. Louis was 14th. The reason he went on, whenever Louis IX went out on a crusade, he won the
That was a female or a statue imitator. No.
Always get a quiche.
Guess where we are? In this restaurant. What did you do? You know, this is out of focus. Cafe. I'm having shrimp. Wait, no. I'm having catfish and jambalaya. And Freddie is having a po' boy. That's how we cook. This is where they sell fruits and vegetables and stuff like that. There's supposed to be a flea market here too someplace. Here to me, that cafe back there. Price is pretty high. Well, here we are on a carriage ride. Can you believe I paid that much? Our daddy said he wouldn't continue walking. Here he is enjoying his little carriage ride. Say hi to everybody.
Hi, everybody. It's out of focus.
Warehouse for the Jackson Brewing Company. Nowadays, downstairs is the Hard Rock Cafe. That's where you go and you buy those $150 denim jackets. Down here, on my left, it is also Jackson playing the Battle of New Orleans. This is Bourbon Street.
This is Bourbon Street.
You can find it on Bourbon Street.
This used to be nothing.
When we get to the corner, you look to my right. You see the main entrance, Pat O'Brien.
Down there.
Reservation Hall, where you go and listen to good old boys play jazz at night. It goes by the hurricane. Voodoo, I'm going to tell you, all the doorways are in a straight line, and you can stand at the back of the house, fire a shotgun, and it'll come right out the front door. The building was the second oldest standing building here in Florida today. Now, the structure that you see there is what the Spanish call wood and stone. The reason for the beam bracing is, number one, those bricks there, they've never been fired like the bricks that we use today. So they're very soft and crumbly. Number two, that they use river sand to mix the cement, and it would flake up and fall out. So they would cement the bricks, brace it with a beam. This is our bounty. On the go. Hey, what's going on? Check it out. Check it out. Almost all of it was imported because there was no antique jewelry, antique furniture, and fine art galleries. Today, Wall Street is a woman's shopping paradise. The Baroness of Chicago, she was the toughest old lady ever to live here in NewOrleans. She got in an argument with her father-in-law over money. Died in jail. 2 of them hung themselves. 2 of them drowned.
This is Pat O'Brien. Yeah, he's having a hurricane. And he is too. And I'm having a mint julep. And that's what they look like. That's an official mint julep. This is off of Bourbon Street. I just thought it was very nice. It's a courtyard. So you can hear the sounds. Open until 8 o'clock tonight. I'm not sure if I'm going to come back. From Preservation Hall, it's a voodoo shop, and I don't know whose Cadillac it is. The man must be making out with voodoo. Must do pretty good on voodoo. These are the sights and sounds of New Orleans. From 2 different bars. There it is, Bourbon Street. Some of the things that were down this street I couldn't put on video. Wow, jeez.
Scoot in there.
Freddie's driving. That's why this is like a fast. These are all over ground. We have to leave. Maybe we'll come back tomorrow because it's after 5:30 and Freddie snuck in to the exit and we don't want to get locked in here, as beautiful as it is. In Greenwood Cemetery. This is an older cemetery, so I'm assuming we're going to see some older mausoleums. But look at the rows and rows of them. All over ground because the ground is not hard enough to support coffins. It's too saggy. See, there are several people that are buried in each mausoleum. These are really the older ones. So rusted up after a while. Big pile. We don't know what this is, but it's a lot of water.
Could be part of Mississippi. I don't think so.
You know, when you look in here, a lot of times it's hard to tell what you're looking at. Did you notice that?
Yeah.
These are sugarcane fields. Of the sugarcane fields. I can't see any sugarcane. On our way now to see a swamp tour, and we came across this Beautiful plantation. Right there with the moss-covered trees. Isn't that beautiful?
I'll wait for down here. Oh, sorry.
No problem. Keep
He's
going.
trying to buy con this guy out of here. Guess what?
That's their pet alligator.
Suckers in. I'm not hungry. Wait.
I got up and screwed.
About a foot a year for the first 4 or 5 years. In the farm, they can make them grow up to 2 foot a year. We call a swamp. Back in there, and a snowy egret. Like a snowy egret. Left, there's a lot on the bottom of them. A lot of people call them cypress meat. Oh, it always turns on the water.
Cottonmouth water moccasin.
Poisonous.
Poisonous, but I can't see them now.
Used to make pillows and mattresses with it. A lot.
There you come. There you come.
We ate before recording the music, and now the music's all over. But towards the end, it was rock and roll music anyway. Aren't these people clean? This is the festival grounds. We should see the bathrooms. This is Cajun country. There is a college campus nearby that might have... The alligator etouffee crawfish boulet. Oh.
When they got
How they call you to dinner, I got it down
when
there.
they bring attention to that jockey to get that food, it ain't worth a shit.
Uh-oh.
Look here, look what I read.
And they have to do that to get your attention. The food ain't worth shit.
This way.
Roof down. But notice this menu. I had the seafood and artichoke lasagna, and it was outstanding. It was served in a silver chafing dish.
Hold it further away. All right, narrate, then I'm gonna shut this off.
It says it all. Okay.
Rotunda, I guess, of the Louisiana State Capitol building, which you saw earlier on the outside. We finally got here where it's open. These are early governors. They have the tourist center right on the first floor here. Flag that flew over Louisiana territory at one time or another.
Going back to
On the 27th floor, that's the chemical complex out there. Won't let us out on the observation deck because they're sandblasting. And this is Baton Rouge again. That's the Mississippi.
Tell me about the chemical.
I did say chemical. On the Mississippi.
That's a nice shot.
Overlooking the town.
Somewhere out there is two universities, Southern University and Louisiana State University.
They won't let us out this side either. And this is another view from one of the other windows. This is looking north.
Can you look at that over there? This place has 7 different types of marble in it. From 7 different areas of the world. Why are we whispering?
I have no idea why you're whispering.
Huey Long is burned here something.
They're all bronze castings throughout Louisiana. Looking out of the Capitol building, that's some statues. I'm looking out. That's the formal gardens out this way. Huey Long is assassinated front steps. He's buried in this formal garden. That's his statue looking at the Capitol building. There are 48 steps going up into the Capitol building, and there's the Queen. Yeah. But the states were added as they came into the Union. The top step is the 48, so they're going to add Hawaii and Alaska on the sides. Magnolia trees. The reason I'm taking that are on it. And one of the fruits where the seed is really popping out the sides of the Louisiana State Capitol building. Tallest in the country. Cheers again, one on either side, depicting the history of Louisiana. It'll Taft, famous sculptor in the 30s, 40s. For a lot of the Cajuns who don't speak English, even though they were born and raised here.
This is a shot of the governor's mansion. We couldn't take a tour because it was closed. Now, naturally, this would be a place where Daddy would want to visit.
Okay.
This almost looks like Florida, doesn't it? Strolled in. This is practically all the flowers that are around here. This fall's not a good time.
They're in front of the rose garden. Your mother's sitting on the bench, so you can tell a difference.
Now checked into this Hampton Inn in Greenwood. In a big bed. Isn't this a beautiful room? That goes out to an indoor-outdoor pool. There's a refrigerator underneath that TV. Plantation that we're going to see tomorrow. Outside area. Tennis courts. We're here at sundown. So we're not going to go in the pool. We're just going to sit in the sun for a little while, have a drink, and then we're going to go to the restaurant next door and have dinner. Notice that's the entry for the indoor pool. Pretty neat, huh? We're in Greenwood, Mississippi now, which is called the Cotton Capital of the Mississippi, and we're on Grand Boulevard, which is supposed to be full of really beautiful homes. Oh, okay, now over here the girls are dressed like in the Times period.
Here's Joanne playing a square grand piano.
Listen to the clicks. It's showing its age. Thank you.
I think that it's all set up with the...
So they would cook their food in the cookhouse, but bring it through the store. It's called a whistle walk from the cookhouse to here. The master made the servant whistle, so he'd know they weren't tasting the food. They couldn't whistle and eat at the same time.
That's They stored their wigs in there.
The white powdered wig.
And that's General Foster's.
No, Nathan Bedford Forrest.
Guess he knows him.
It sounds like he knows him well.
Everyone knows him.
He was very, the lady that made this picked her cotton, wove the thread, and embroidered. She did everything from scratch. The loom was only so wide, so she had to sew it together by hand. It's into 3 pieces, and then after she got sewn together, she just went back and embroidered on top of it. It's called white on white.
Angelica will want to see these. How old did you say they were?
Over 150 years old.
Over 150 years old. How close? Ooh.
And this is the children's chamber, and it has the step up for the children. Often the baby, your skirt hair from getting on late.
Oh. The only time we see that is when we have brides.
Right.
The children. Where they did the cooking and they brought the food in to the big house. And they wanted them to always be whistling when they were cooking because that meant that they weren't eating the stuff.
Their bedroom.
Tack house, spare bedroom, tutor slept there. What's the next building?
Okay.
Dad is looking over some vines that are called muscadine vines. They invited us to find the ones that were kind of yellow. She said they taste a little bit like grapes. Yum yum. Let's see what they do taste like. She said she's gonna pick them and make some jelly.
Meat, ham, bacon.
Just like in the Klein Creek farm, only bigger. Smokehouse. You guessed that, didn't you? Two-holer. Laundry house. Something to do with laundry. Maybe making soap. This is the wash house for clothes and people. Oh man, hard work, eh? This is the domestic servant's house, as opposed to field hands. Guess this was more luxurious. You think so? It's really big. And they kept pigeons upstairs. Really here on the off season because they're supposed to be giving demonstrations, and there would have been animals and chickens in that area before.
I'm serious. You wouldn't have to get locked up all the time. And have to get keys to come in here and open it up. All of them. It also served as a distribution. And we can have different colors. Candle machine. machine works on the same way. The bit can fire at the same time. I have it set up at 55, 57, that walking thing through it. And then it moved that little space. Get that big.
Making candles.
This is the sewing and spinning room. They take the raw cotton, spin it into thread.
Wait, let me give.
See the wheel? They spin
Yeah.
it into thread there. Then they would wind it on those things to get the skeins or whatever they call it. This is the loom where they would actually braid it into cloth. And that's the quilting room where they take patches of old material and just sew them together. There's the carding where they would take the raw wool and set it out in stringy masses so they can spin it.
Design.
This is the schoolhouse and church. This is where the tutor would tutor the plantation owner's children and nearby plantation owners' children, depending on who was the richest in the area, who could hire a tutor.
And look how fancy their letters were. Oop, from a distance. I wanted to mention too that this is a plantation from around 1850, a very well-to-do one. They would have maybe around 80 slaves here, where a typical plantation would have around 30. And the woman was wearing a day dress, and she says that the dresses with the big hoops that you see on plantations didn't happen until the 1960s, rather 1860s, closer to the time of the war. That's what it is, the blacksmith shop. It's real dark in there. Had to be pretty hot too. This was the kind of hand plow they used in the old days. This is a cotton press. Let's hear what the narrator has to say about this.
Well, I'm only doing this by ear. It looks like this side goes up. They pour the cotton into the top, fill this all up, and they kept cranking down on this to compress the cotton into big bales. I kept squeezing it down until I couldn't squeeze anymore. And that's my best guess.
Original cotton gin, built in 1850. It was pulled by horses or mules, and Daddy can't figure out how it worked. Oh, fire ants are getting me. That was the slave driver. Dad says they probably were from Scotland, and this was probably very luxurious for them.
That's why so many colors have Irish and Scotch names, because they took the overseer's names.
To make babies. What? The overseers? Where they did the cooking. It's on the other side of the building. I'll show you. That's the living side, and to the left is the cooking side. Green. It's a steam engine. What did they do with that steam thing?
There, that's a big sawmill.
Oh, that's a sawmill.
That was driving the saw blades and traveling to bring the logs into the blade.
By the way, I did get stung on the foot by fire ants by that cotton gin. Didn't hurt as much as the ones in Texas, though. In the animal house. You did see some animals rolling around there. I don't know where they are now. Hospital. Let's take a look up close. This is the hospital part of it. This will be where Amanda has her first job. Like Dr. Quinn, medicine woman. And I guess but they made the pottery. That's an old gizmo. Kiln, is it? No. Kiln must be someplace else. Don't see it. Animals to this, and it went around and around, and that's how they would grind stuff. Probably like the sugar cane.
Well, wouldn't be sugar, well, sorghum probably.
He says sorghum more than sugar.
By Eli Whitney.
In
Separates the seeds.
We just need some
1793. He was a school teacher. He was visiting a plantation, saw the problems, and came up with this. Keith ripped the seeds from the cotton. Liz picked up the cotton, the seeds fell out. And this brought the cotton out, and away it went.
So the white stuff went out and the seeds stayed behind.
Seeds trapped down. Seeds dropped out. Separated the seeds from the lint. They call the white stuff the lint. And this is the brushes that picked it up.
Patented it, but it was so simple that people copied it anyway, so he didn't make very much money on it. The tools of the day. This is some kind of bar clamp that Daddy says was very innovative for the time.
They're touting it today as a new way of clamping wood together.
Nothing like the good old days. What didn't you know?
The side over top that they can cook in there.
Huh.
Fire was down here. You cook here and here.
There was like an oven in the middle, huh?
Yeah.
That's pretty practical.
Yes.
How many men would it take to pick this baby up? What do you think?
And then they'd roll it.
Oh, okay.
Here's Ma checking the cotton. We're checking for fire ants first, though.
There we go. Let's go back into that machine. Here's the seed. There it is. I guess in the old days they had to do all this by hand. Ow. See how they wave?
Don't know what the yellow stuff is.
No. If I had my little Illinois book,
We're not in Illinois.
or rather Arkansas book, I could have brought all those books. I didn't realize what, what states we were going through. I wasn't thinking. I always have them in all, in a row. Why else save them? You left too much for me to do. I kept saying, plan the trip, plan the trip. But did you plan the trip? I'm glad you picked New Orleans, though. That was nice. I mean, we hadn't been there. That was something different. And it was a good time of the year to go. The weather was very comfortable.
Speed racer coming up behind us.
This is Goose Lake Prairie in Illinois. It's kept the way it was 150 years ago. The reason it's still here is because they couldn't farm the land because it's too rocky. The only thing that happened was that wild hogs used to graze here. But these are all the different unusual grasses. grow here. Glacier.
Carrots right there. The white on top, I believe. The yellow top ones with the pollen, that's a ragweed. And that's a glacier pond.
10,000 years ago, a glacier melted and formed it.
This is a glacier moraine here. The fields are loaded with rocks, impossible to farm. Plus being half swamp.
We were walking alongside two deer and we didn't even know it.
What was that?
We were walking along two deer in the grass and didn't even know it, and all of a sudden they appeared with big white tails and ran that way. What is this?
That's the original prairie grass. They say 60% of Illinois was covered with that grass. 6 foot high. So deep the plow couldn't get through the roots.
It's tall. Look at this stuff too. Construction of a cabin that was here in 1830. He used to open the doors to people going through the prairie
To Chicago.
and they called it the Palace because as many as 30 people stayed in there at night.
Then it's locked, so I'm shooting it through the window. Pretty pitch dark in there.
Isn't this a great camera? If these movies are coming out.
See a split log floor. See a log ladder going up to the loft. That's probably where most of the people slept. Okay, here's some more different kinds of grasses. Place is loaded with wildlife. Imagine you sit here closer to dusk, you can see everything, a lot of deer and whatever.
That kind of grass was called what?
Foxtail, please.
Foxtail. Like a tail. We're gonna have you